Good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, good morning, good morning. I haven't said that in what, 3 weeks? That's far too long. And so I totally appreciate all the emails I get. Everyone's always like, Anthony, 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 I haven't seen you in a long time. Good morning, Andrew. And trust me, I don't confuse that for being like, oh my God, Anthony's so popular. I want to talk to him today. No, I understand we have an economic interest together. So it's not me saying that I take your emails as like a celebrity. I take it as like, Ant, like talk to us. Like I need to talk to you. In fact, I got an email the other day where one of our most like evangelist, is that how you say it? I think so, was like, Ant, you know, I you were someone that was always accessible. Hey, Brian. And that's kind of what's been bothering me. And I said, I totally appreciate that. If it was up to me, I'd be out here every day. In fact, when it was up to me, I was out here every day. So it's not blowing smoke. Um, I don't know how to make clearer that I have to actually schedule myself to go to the bathroom, and that's not being silly. The amount of time that I've always dedicated to these lives was also having the benefit of having every part of my life in really a good place. Unfortunately, a lot of my life has taken a lot of my time, and that's fine. It's just a matter of reprioritizing where do you spend the time. And it's funny, I have this neighbor. Her name is Giselle, and really, really nice girl. And I don't ever actually accept any of her um, invitations for a bunch of reasons. One, I'm actually not okay to hang out in public. I don't like meeting people. I'm not in the right headset to even like I need like there's things I need to do, and doing anything outside of those things actually like upsets me. So I don't do that. Hey Frida, I'm doing well. Um, but the point of the story is I also like doing a lot of things for her because she's a friend. And, fill in the blank. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter. It's a girl that lives like a couple of doors down. She's just someone I see. So like when I go grocery shopping, I'll be like, and she's a nurse that works nights. So I really appreciate that she's out there saving lives, right? So I know when she comes home, she's just sleeping, and hey, do you need anything from the store, right? And I've done that enough times, which actually kind of leads into Ted. I've done that enough times to know what her answer is going to be. And she always gets this artesian, is that what it's called? Bread, right? Whatever. And so now I just do it autonomously. I buy the bread, it's like $3, right? And I place it outside of her door, and I'll send her a picture, like I'm a FedEx delivery man. Hey, listen, when you get up, I got your bread. And she's always so grateful, like so grateful. You could not see someone more grateful because it's the thought. Like when I was younger, you were told the secret to dating is unexpected gifts at unexpected times. And the point of this whole story being, she said to me when she goes, why do you keep doing that? Like, you don't even accept any of the invitations I offer you. You're obviously not romantically attracted to me. Like, why do you do this? I go, there's going to be a day. And it was a very logical answer to a very emotional question that kind of caught her off guard. And again, she's a nurse. She's emotional in a good way. She's saving lives. But that's the way I think. I'm creating a bank. I'm creating a reserve. And that's the best answer I have for why I haven't been live every day. There are priorities in my life that I do need to tend to. But when I was able to be live every day, I was live every day. The point being, did Anthony earn the benefit of the doubt? If he could be live, would he? And if he actually needs to be doing things, do I berate him with it, or do I say, okay, I accept it. I'm not thrilled about it, but he has the bank to do that. So that's, in so many ways, that's kind of how I answered that email. But I really do mean that. I'm not, and people will email me and I'll email them back right away. In fact, someone called me the other day and they're like, oh my God, is this Anthony? You actually picked? I go, I'm always here. I'm right here. But in my daily routine, to get on the live, to then spend the time doing it, spend the time prepare for it, spend the time to upload it, It takes about like maybe I want to say an hour or two, depending on my rambling, right? But that's an hour of two that at this stage of my life is need it would be it would be very bad of me to not reprioritize it. So that's just that. But again, I tried to stay in touch. I know we had a call last week. I rescheduled it because I didn't have anything to really show. A lot of this process is spending time just, and in doing so, you're trying to create what it looks like on paper. Now, I don't imagine that to be uh, too comforting. It's like, yeah, okay, you're just sitting there thinking stuff up, like you're supposed to actually be doing something, and I get that, right? And I am. So in the email that I sent out, which I sent out right before this call, like literally 2 minutes before this call, because I was still working on the document I wanted to make sure that I had for everyone, I did include our provisional patent, which is awarded, and our non-provisional patent, which is pending. Now that's pending till May 2025, because that's the natural process of the patent office. It's like 12 to 16 months, I think, 12 to 18 months, something like that. But the point is, that's the process for everyone. Therefore, we are, well, before I say that, let me start by saying this. The patent process. The patent process isn't you go ahead and say, I want to invent the wheel, let me submit an application. Oh, look, it's pending. I have the patent to invent a wheel. No, that's not how this works. So you have to hire a lawyer, and I guess you don't have to, but I find that there's some things in life you have to hire a lawyer for, and if you're going to do a patent that you're going to stake your business on, you probably should hire the best lawyer. So we did not skip on any expense there. In fact, the patents I've sent you in the email finally reveal who our lawyer is. Now, I advise or suggest or plead or beg or whatever word you want to fill in, don't berate the person. Like, don't email the person. Don't do that. But do your research. Look up the firm. Look up who he is. Look up his patent registration. Like, look up all of that stuff. That's fine. But if my patent attorney starts emailing me saying, Anthony, 10,000 people are emailing me, this is someone we still need to be friends with. He's in charge of our patent for the next 18 months, right? Like when the patent office communicates with us, they're going to communicate through him because he has the power of attorney. So he's not someone we want to exactly bother, right? So just leave him alone. But I do want to make sure that you have some credentials in hand, and I had to do it at a responsible time. I was actually going to include the entire patent. In fact, I have it as part of that document. I took it out of that document right before I sent because I still think prudence, right? The risk is not worth the reward. And I did my research. I don't know what risk there is. And I'm going to explain the patent process in a moment, but the reward is, oh, great, Ant, I can see your patent. The risk is someone somehow figures a way to steal it, copy it. Risk isn't worth the reward, but it's there, and I do want to offer it. And maybe in a month or two, we're going to share the complete thing. If any individual is interested, I think you could email. I don't want to do one-offs. Actually, just give me a month or two, and I'll get it to you. But it's there, and it's ready to go. It's done. Okay, the patent process. So you come up with an idea, you get a lawyer presumably, and then you share that idea. They find it innovative enough that they take you on as a client. They then go through a series of questionnaires in which you fill out, in which case they question you. Hey, listen, I see that you answered this, but that's not innovative. Or we need more information on this. If you want this to pass, this. See, when it comes to lawyers, which I found in life, unless you're someone and you only hire the worst human beings in the world, they are fairly ethical. And they're not just going to take your money, because the ones that are fairly ethical, the ones that are ethical, have business, they have clients, and their reputation is paramount. Therefore, they don't go out there looking for money. They go out there looking for good clients. And as a result of having good clients, the money follows. That's what I've learned in my processes going through lawyers. I've heard many stories and I've dealt with many situations where I don't find that to be the same. So it is a little reminiscent that there are bad, I guess there's bad people everywhere in life, but we've always heard of bad lawyers. Um, I've come to find that the ones that actually cost real money are not bad lawyers. They're really good lawyers. So it's funny because as I'm dealing with this patent attorney, I feel like I'm interviewing. Like I really thought, hey, I have this money, and that was going to be no. It's not. They were willing to throw me out 10 times to Sunday. So you really have to. Okay, I have this. I have this. I have this. Okay, okay. Long story short, the patent attorney accepted me as a client. Okay, now you can give me your money. I'm like, oh, thanks. Thanks for really making me work hard for this. So we get them everything they need. And even before they do the provisional patent, they do a search. In doing the search, they said, Anthony, our first search didn't give us the results we wanted. We do think you need to add more to this patent if you believe it's going to have a chance to check off the boxes. And it's innovative and not easily done. I don't know, there's 3 boxes, but the point being to check them off. We're going to need to do a second search. It's going to be this much more money. And I'm like, but I get it. It's what you got to do. When it comes to what we did here, there was no cost I was going to spare because I was being penny wise, dollar foolish. The patent needs to hold up, right? Because I knew what we were doing. So they do the second search. They tell us what we need to send them. We send it to them. They then file the provisional patent. Hey, Eve. No, that was me. Yeah, and I haven't allowed anyone to book any calls. Email me one more time. And again, it is me. I'm getting so in tune with Ted that like some of it's me, some of it sounds like it's me. But email me back and we'll try to make some time. And that's not like an open invite to everyone, which sounds bad. I do know Eve has emailed me like 7 times and she's from different countries. And again, I understand. So yeah, just email me and I'll see what I could do. I'll try to do something. Which, by the way, everyone that emails me, I always make an attempt. In fact, I always say to everyone, if it's urgent, if it's fire, the answer is yes. But short of fire, eh. And when I get that many emails, it's starting to sound like fire. So I'm just fulfilling what I've always promised. Anyway, the point being, so then you send out, so we've marked off all the boxes. Then we send out for the provisional patent. We then get the provisional. Now, the provisional really has no utility. It doesn't do anything. The provisional patent, all it does is stake your flag in the ground that you on this date had this idea, and that if you decide to file a non-provisional patent, that it's referred back to this. Therefore, for 12 months from this provisional patent, you have priority. Now that's quite valuable when you actually plan to file a non-provisional, and you have 12 months to do it. So we could have waited 12 months and our provisional would be the most, prized possession. So say, for instance, 7, 8 months from now, somebody comes out and develops like an AI marketplace or whatever. We can say, hey, listen, we got the provisional for that. And they could say, yeah, but you don't have the non-provisional. You can't actually defend that. And we say, well, we can file the non-provisional and it will refer to that. Therefore, we will have it. And they'll say, yeah, you can do that, or you can allow us to buy it from you rather than you going through all of that. And that's how that works, right? So people that file provisional patents with no inclination of non-provisional, I don't want to call them bad names, but they're just kind of like ambulance chasers, right? Like they're looking to just, like the people that did domains back in the day, like let me just buy all these domains, dentist.com, lawyer.com, whatever, because at some later date, somebody's going to need it and I'll sell it to them, which I guess is a good business plan, but it's never been one that I've been like super enthused about, but whatever. So that's what the provisional patent does. Now we go to the non-provisional, in which case that one is far more comprehensive. In fact, the provisional patent, I think, was maybe 3,200 words. The non-provisional is 13,265, I think. So it's a lot more. What was What was revealed in the search was that we needed to have more innovativeness. We needed to share more of what made us different. And that's when we shared the algorithm, the intent scoring, the TED card, things that are a part of it, the autonomous behavior, how that is actually created, in which case we did the searches, we got the feedback, we filed the provisional, we knew what we needed to do, and then we did it. The point of that story is that the process that I'm describing to you, the time spent doing so, allows me to say with the utmost confidence that our patent, I don't want to say will be awarded, but will be awarded, or in lieu of being awarded, they will come back to us with some reasonable, hey, listen, for us to award this to you, you need to solve XYZ. XYZ will be reasonable. It'll be, well, you said this, but we need you to just change it to this, right? Because we did all the steps for the structural, the big things. The only things that are even left to surprise us are the very, very small things. And because we invented it, we can be innovative enough to say, okay, they don't like apples, let's just put oranges there. Does it change anything? No. In fact, it's actually a better, oh, okay, great. And we'll have the benefit of that being 12, 18 months from now, meaning we're going to know so much more then than we do now, meaning any change that we need to make is going to be based on 12 to 18 months of further intelligence, information, or whatnot. Therefore, any change that does need to be made will be coming from a place of, I don't want to say, it's cliche to say strength, but I guess strength, it's a good analogy. It'll be coming from a good place. So although we don't want anyone to say, hey, listen, you need to change this, it sounds like it could be quite the opportunity when that situation arises. So that's that. Okay, so we have the patent done. And again, it's in your email. It is in your email. You have the provisional, you have the license number, the registration number, the US Patent Office. You have our patent attorney. Please don't bother him. You go look him up though, right? He has 700 patents under his name. And he's like shaking hands with the Commerce Secretary. Trust me, he was well worth every dollar. So we have that done. Okay. So the next step is I'm actively looking today to find an appraiser, because if we're going to raise funds, we need to have an appraised value. Now I've done my due diligence. I've done every calculation. I've gone through the moon and back, and the most conservative estimation that I can come up with for the patent as a provisional with a non-provisional pending, is 100 to 250 million. Now that's a big number. Does it look like I have that money, right? We have a piece of paper. In fact, the piece of paper that's worth that is in your email, right? We need to turn it into money. Now it's kind of like if you could imagine making a diamond. You have a chunk of coal, you know what it's worth, but what do you use? A hammer? How do you do this, right? And then you got to polish, and anyway. So we would like to get the appraisal to verify that, because my appraisal, one could say, is quite biased, because Anthony, you're not an appraiser and you appraised your own patent. Well, not really, because I have the best technology in the entire world, and I've sourced from every intelligence ever in the entire world to actually do a better job than any patent attorney or patent appraiser could do of appraising it. Yeah, I get that, Ant, but unless you have a stamp from ABC Incorporated, we don't really trust you and your AI. What you're saying is true. Listen, I believe you, Ant. I believe that you have the technology to actually get the best appraiser possible. But we're not buying the appraiser amount, we're buying the confidence in the person stamping the appraisal. And then that makes sense, right? So I get it. So it's kind of double-edged in the sense that I know what the value is, or at least I have a really good confidence what the value is. But at the same time, I need someone else to confirm the value. Because once they confirm the value, then we can say, hey, listen, this by this highly reputable institution, stamp this, we know this is what this is worth, great, let's move forward. Okay. So now it's in building the business models around what the patent actually does. So that we're still doing. But actually still doing in a sense of synthesizing. Kind of like if you're thinking of accordion, it starts here, you have an idea, you open it up and you expand it to every possibility possible. Now you got to bring it back in so it's concise and clear and organized. We're here. Like we've filled this all out. This is all done. We have all of the ideas. Now we got to bring it back in so that we can share those ideas. So it's twofold. And I didn't want to get into much of this, but I guess I'm here. So, because it's just big ideas and I don't want to like scare people off by it. So the email we sent kind of touches on this. It gives a real life case study of how it works. So it's twofold. It's TED technology in corporate America and TED technology in government. The TED technology in corporate America is going to facilitate UBI, Universal Basic Income. Now, I know that's a really big idea, and that's why I don't want to get too much into it, so I'm not. But the general thesis is, I don't think it's difficult to agree that that AI is just born, it's infant, right? Anyone that believes that AI today is like the ceiling, I don't actually have a nice thing to say. I feel like I'll say something rude. That's not even close to being true. It's going to exponentially increase for the decades to come, probably with the largest growth over the next 5 years, because again, it's nothing, right? So like 1 + 1 is plus 100%, 1 + 100 is plus 1%. We're at 1. So everything we're doing is like 100% change, 100% change, 100% change. So there's going to be a lot of radical volatility in the change of it going forward. And I do believe what you can easily see in the stock market is that all stocks are going up. Layoffs are being announced everywhere you can find, and tech companies are leading the charge. Because what I've said many times that maybe it's just not popular to say is that AI doesn't produce income. It cuts costs. It replaces you. It is not trusted yet to hold a gun. It is not trusted yet to go ahead and drive your car, but it is trusted to go ahead and be your accountant. It is trusted to go ahead and be your companion or your personal trainer. Like it does replace, I don't want to say medial, because those are obviously jobs that have degrees, but it's subsequently going to continue replacing up the food chain. So I think McDonald's has already started testing a fully autonomous restaurant. You just have a lot of this. And I remember I was checking out at Acme the other day, and actually no, it was Wawa. And I was, being friendly to the nice lady. And she's like, "What do you actually do? Like, I see you here at all these odd hours because I'll take a walk or go get a coffee." I was like, "Oh, I'm just AI tech at like inventing and blah, blah, blah." And she's like, "Oh, AI, that's the thing that's going to take my job." And this lady was maybe 50s, working as a grocer at Wawa, which is totally cool. Like, love it. Like, she's everyone's like favorite person. But when you start getting to that demographic, like a demographic that is a little bit past technology or a little bit past trying to learn the new thing, that has accepted kind of like not like a hard labor job, but one that does require a person to fill a spot and one that requires personality. Like her value is her personality. She's worldly, she's been around, she's friendly, she's a grandmother. Like she's the one that you want to see when you're just doing your, all right, let me get some gum and coffee. Oh yeah, hey, have a great day, blah, blah, blah. But she's the person that's not going to be hired at another location if the job that she has is gone. And then you take that as a base and then realize that that's going to scale. So who's next on the list that's a little bit less replaceable than her, right? Could it be your bank teller? Who's next on the list that might be a little bit less replaceable than them? Could it be your McDonald's, right? Like you're ordering your food and it's making it, right? Like the machines are making it. And the point being, these companies are going to have much more money because their income is going to increase. Well, their net income because their expenses are going to decrease because their labor is going to decrease. What does that do for actual people? Well, it just leaves you without a job. And at the same time, companies are growing, they're making more money, people are losing jobs and having less money, which means that people, what do they do? Like, what do you do at that point? Well, I guess you go find another job. Well, what are the jobs out there? Well, I guess I could learn this AI stuff and help businesses. And then you kind of put yourself in a position where you're service oriented, which isn't a bad thing, but the progression of that service orientation is going to further decay as well, right? So if you have the service side, like the person at the grocer that's no longer having that position, the person that says, okay, let me go do the other servicing where I'm now going to service businesses. Hey, listen, you have a business, you sell this thing, really, really super cool. I can help you sell it better. I can replace your labor by introducing this product to your system. They say, okay, great. They pay you X amount of money. You institute the product. They fire their labor, and then they fire you because you instituted the product, right? Like, so there is an eventual natural outcome that has business being machine centric, intelligence centric. And that's not even talking about AGI, which is artificial general intelligence, which again is probably 5 or 10 years out. But the point being, jobs are probably not going to. There's going to be more talk about universal basic income, which I actually agree with. You would be surprised. Because I see corporations make a ton of money, they pay less taxes, they do this, like they know the game, and we're just kind of like ants in it. And I've always believed that they should contribute X amount to society as a whole. Like I just think that would make sense. Now, of course, how many people are in between corporations being taxed and people getting stipends? Like you have every politician with their handout, so that was never going to work. Where I'm going with this is a much more concise solution. And I know I just did this, right? I just did the accordion. So you just sort in real time because you're probably like, Ant, you just like, that's a lot. I know. What corporations are going to do, regardless whether you give them permission or not, is going to continue growing data. They're going to continue monitoring and growing data sets of people. Whether it's through your social media, I like this, okay, great, you like goats, now you're a goat liker, your friends are, whatever the case may be. Okay. But with the advent of AI, they're going to find new and ingenuitive, right? Ways to do so as well. In which case, hey, listen, we have this new cool AI out there, and if you use it, cool stuff happens, whatever. Like they make some gimmick and you start using their product. And in using the product, it learns about you. And in the product learning about you, it's able to share with the corporation that instituted that product, hey, listen, Anthony likes bacon cheeseburgers. He was talking about it the other day and it was weird because it was 2 a.m. He woke up and started talking about bacon cheeseburgers. Now the company knows he really likes bacon. Like at 2 in the morning, he's talking about bacon cheeseburgers to his AI. Now his AI might be on his phone, but later in life, there's going to be things called neural nets where we're going to be thinking about it, artificial general intelligence. There'll be holographic images. I know this sounds crazy, but technology continues to grow. Like that's the way it works. And AI, a technology that could actually advance itself, is not going to stop advancing itself in lieu of us advancing it. It's just, you're going to have to get on board. So this data will go to companies. These companies will use this data. Okay, Anthony likes this bacon cheeseburger. Great, let's go ahead and, you know what? Let's actually send someone to his house. Hey, Ant, do you want a bacon cheeseburger? If you do, it's $5. I'm right here with it. You don't have to buy it, but it's here if you want it. Now, how do they know what time to bring that bacon cheeseburger? Well, they know what time I eat lunch. Like they know all of this stuff because I'm interacting with the AI stuff that they have around me. Okay. Where am I getting this money though? I don't have a job. Where am I getting this money to do this thing? I'm not. I'm probably on some government thing, which means the governments are now taxing the businesses more because they're having a higher net income, and the government's now having to supply higher social programs or unemployment or whatever the case may be. So now the person is dependent on the government, and the government is dependent on the corporation, and the corporation has the AI that controls everything. Yeah, that sounds real swell. Like, what could go wrong? So if you take apart what I had just said, that is actually what our UBI program is. That's what the patent does. Exactly what I just described the corporation would do, they now can't, because we have the patent to do that. See, that's how valuable that is. The patent, which we really thought of quite with a lot of foresight, which, you know, we had to go through the darkest well and walk the desert for 40 nights to be in such a miserable state that you can see that far ahead. But such is life, and you get lemons, you make lemonade, right? So that's what I do. The point being, what the patent actually does is it says that we are the only ones able to connect a person to an AI lifetime companion that machine learns through all psychological processes to design and develop your intent, and then autonomously predict your intent and make decisions based on the predictions autonomously of you, connected to a closed-end marketplace. Meaning nobody can do that unless we allow them to. Now, how do you turn that into a UBI? Well, obviously, that data to that company is probably really valuable, like really valuable. Imagine if Walmart had the ability that every one of their customers had their version of TED, and how would they engage with them, right? Like, okay, Aunt, they have TED. Like, how does that help me? Okay. They'll pay you $10 an hour they'll pay you $10 for every hour you talk to TED. Really? So I could talk to TED for like 10 hours a week and I'll make $100? Yeah. But do I need to talk to it? Like, TED does all these things. Like, I could use it to help me with my homework. Yeah. Yeah, but TED also is like a hologram that walks around my house and like, yeah. But what if I want to know what happened in the Super Bowl? Like, do I have to only ask Walmart questions, or can I ask? Yeah. You just need to engage with it. Because inside of TED is built in that it's going to identify, calculate, and cipher everything that you say or do to come up with theses, hypotheses, and conclusions about what your personality, what your behavior is, what your behavioral economics is, what your psychology is, what you want when you want it. It will note everything. But Ant, that kind of data is like, I'm not trying to just let anyone have that data. No one does. You just said Walmart had, no. Walmart is benefiting from the data. They don't have it. So who has it? TED. How does TED have it? You are the only one that has your data. TED synthesizes it. So the data comes into TED, it's completely encrypted that only TED can read it, and TED makes decisions based on it. Everyone involved trusts TED. In fact, if at any point you say, I don't really like this Walmart thing anymore, I want to destroy it, you can export your data from Walmart, and that's your TED card, right? So I don't want to get too in the wonky weeds of this, but you control all of that, and that's going to be a universal export, a universal, I don't know, thing. Well, how has that become universal? Well, because TED scales to every business. It's not just Walmart, Target. It just does the same for all of it, plus the government side of it, which I didn't even get into yet, which basically means you're going to be able to create this thing that is you, and you're going to own it. Because later in life, 10, 20, 30 years from now, when you actually do have those autonomous AI techs like police on the corner of the street, or you walk into somewhere and and that place adapts to who you are. It changes the temperature, changes the colors, everything adapts to who you are. They're going to have to know something about you or have an access point to know how to do that stuff, and that's what that is. Now, I'm not going to predict whether it's going to be a chip that's in your body or it's a neural net I have no clue. I just know that to create that thing, you're going to need all the requisite data. And that requisite data, in lieu of you building it yourself, will be built for you. And I do know that I would rather me own my data than someone else own my data. And that's not trivial anymore. By the time that this actually becomes an issue, we would have never built enough data to offset the data that has been built of us that's already being actionably employed and activated to participate in our lives. That's AI. So I know that's very far off stuff, but let's hone it in, right? Let's bring the accordion back in. The value proposition of what I just described to a company like Walmart is, hey, listen, we're able to do this for you. Everything that I just described, we'll do it for you. The way you're going to participate and engage your customers, you're going to offer an incentive structure. Maybe $5 an hour, maybe $10 in Walmart coupon. I don't know, nor do I really care. That's you, your sales and marketing for your company. But there will be an incentive structure because this incentive structure is going to attract your customers to participate. Your customers participating are going to ensure that they're going to be lifelong because you're going to know everything about them to the point that you'll be able to predict their behavior and autonomously act upon it. Which means they are your most valuable customer because you're able to service them without the laborious nature of having to do ad spend or this or that or the third. They're taken care of. Great. And all you really need to do is interact with their TED, which their TED protects them. In fact, Walmart can say, hey, listen, Ted, all of the TEDs in the world, we're thinking about creating a dating program. Do you guys think do you feel you know enough about your person that you can create a personality profile and match them up harmoniously within our network? Yeah. Okay, great. Let's act on that. The point is, TED is your representative. It's your liaison. It's the person, this is your particular superhero that is protecting you from everything, but also providing you everything. So that's how it operates in the corporate world. Now, how it operates on the government side, the municipal side, is that it guarantees full employment. How does it do that? Okay. Well, let's take the existential threat, right? AI left to its own devices will do one of two things to businesses. Either you're a good business that has a forward-thinking and ingenuitive executive or management team that says, hey, listen, we're good. This AI thing, we're going to need to move with it. Therefore, let's outsource and bring in an agency that can do this stuff for us. We'll fire half our staff, we'll automate, blah, blah, blah. And now we're stronger and better and everything's great. Cool. Wonderful. That business is probably going to be really great. What did they do though? They've taken money out of their pockets and sent it outside of the community because they brought in an agency. Okay. They've also taken money out of the community by firing half their staff. Okay. What does that do to a community? Not good. And that's the best case scenario. The worst case scenario is the business that does not think forward looking and their business just goes out of business, in which case everyone in the business loses their job. Every debt that they ever owe is now, attached to them. And now the town or the community as a whole has a void. Maybe that business sold shoes and now they need shoes. I have no idea, right? Okay, great. Now take this and multiply it. What do you get? You get a few really, really, really strong businesses now that are funding the entire town because the town is built on tax receipts. The tax receipts are coming from only the people that are able to pay taxes. Therefore, those businesses now own the local government because they're the ones in charge of employing and paying and everything else. And I don't know if you've ever met a politician, but they're kind of partial to money, not ethics. And I'm just speaking about most of them. Anyway, that's another story for another day. The people that go out of business, what position are they in? Oh my God, I hate this. I wish my government would protect me. AI's taken all of my jobs. And it is. You see, that's actually a true sentence. Think about how deluded people are when they get together in their stupid groups and do stupid stuff on messages that aren't true. Like, oh, those people took all of our money, let's go kill them all. No. And you had a whole World War II over something so stupid. Imagine if the message was actually true. Those machines are taking our jobs. Okay, what do? We need to band together. Let's boycott those businesses that are using those machines. I don't know how that ends, but I do know human behavior. If you take everything from a group of people and allow them to group on a statement that's actually true, you have a problem. Okay, so what's that problem do? Does it create crime? Does it create drugs? Does it create civil unrest? Does it create decay? I don't know, but guess what? I also don't want to know. Like, let's not do that. But that's the path we're going. That's the inevitable path if everything's left unchecked. Okay, so how do we solve this? All right, so what are the businesses going to do that are going to need the AI? They're going to outsource to an agency. Okay, and in doing so, they're going to fire half their staff and other businesses are going to go out of business. Okay. Well, what if we could go back in time and get all the people that are about to be out of business and employ them into our own AI agency that is town funded, kind of like a paid internship? Well, that's kind of, where are they getting this money from? Well, if they don't outsource and they actually source within the community, well, what are they going to pay? Zero. Actually, the AI agency in the community is free. Okay. So this business that has money, that's willing to pay money, you're going to offer them the same service that they could have done, that they're going to fire all their people and you're going to offer it to them for free, and it's going to come out of tax revenue. Yes. Anthony, you're off your rocker. You tell me something I haven't heard before, right? Okay. The agency is a paid internship within the community. Okay. Who's paying it? The town again. So the town's not only doing services for free, but then they're paying a whole bunch of people out of money that you're telling me that like it's going to yes, stay with me, relax. Okay, great. So the money comes to the people that are paid in this AI agency. So what happens to the people? They're now no longer unemployed. They're employed. They're no longer collecting unemployment. They're no longer collecting social programs, welfares, etc. There is a benefit to that. I don't know the actual cost, but you're not taking money from the town. Okay, great. So they're coming into this money. What are they doing with that money? Well, they're likely using it within the local community. Okay. Well, what's the multiplier on that? Well, the multiplier on that, so you have $100, it's 50% respent, 59% actually, respent if done in a local community. So $100 to you, now you're going to spend 59 of that dollars within the community, and that person's going to spend 27 or 28 of those dollars within the community, blah, 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 blah. So by the time you get down to the 6th level, in a community that has 10,000 members, so the average, I'm sorry, there's so many numbers. So the average amount spent last year on e-commerce outside of a community was like $5,600. If you keep 10% of that within the community, at the 12th level, it comes out to like $1,200 or something. On a 10,000 person community, see, now I'm mixing a whole bunch of numbers because there's a cost. All right, so let me kind of start over. So what's important to note is that the municipal TED is so remember, it's the person plus the AI plus the backend system. The backend system is Rhino Street. That's important to note because Rhino Street is within 20 miles of the user. Remember how many times we've all sat there and said, Anthony, Rhino Street, but like, what are we using it for? And I've always said, I don't know. It's a good idea. It's going to be used at some point. The back end of TED in terms of the municipal offering is Rhino Street, meaning anything, and again, TED does all of it does, it monitors not monitors, but it interacts with the person, it's able to predict, blah, 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 blah. But in this instance, when it's the municipal TED, the predictions that TED is making is directly sourced from Rhino Street, meaning any purchase, any commerce, any transactional behavior on a first recommendation is going to be within community. Okay, now that you know that, the rest of it will make sense. In a 10,000 person community, it is predicted, and I predict, well, forecasted or budget, whatever the case may be. I believe that it will cost, for unlimited access on average, the average person, it will cost them $10 a month, which equals $120 a year to the community. Because again, the community is buying and paying for TED. Okay, so in a 10,000 person community, that equals about $1.2 million that the community, the municipality, is going to pay for TED. Okay, plus 5% to Rhino, so that's 60,000, so 1.26 million, right? Okay, great. That 1.26 million is coming out of the community via the municipality. All right, Ant, well, it sounds like you just kind of taken money from them. How do they make money? Okay. Do we believe that by instituting such a technology that is connected to Rhino Street, meaning every recommendation is going to be within 20 miles, whether you're a constituent or a tourist, it's just that's the way it is. Great. So now we can go back to the numbers. $5,600 is spent on an average year in terms of somebody spends $5,600 in e-commerce outside of their community, Amazon, Google, whatever. Okay. Do we believe 10% of that we can retain via the program that is TED? Well, yeah. If you have your best companion, the technology that's most adaptable and most everything to you, that is able to predict your recommendations with a 95% intent or success, well, it stands fair to reason they'll at least gain 10% within the community. Okay, great. 10% of $5,600 is $560. Okay. $560 times those 10,000 people is a lot, like 5.6 million or something like that. Okay. The multiplier effect that I spoke of before, when you bring it down to the 6th level, turns that 5.6 million into 12.89 million. Meaning the local municipality on an investment of 1.26 million will increase the municipal revenue by 12.89 million. It's almost like a factor of 12, really. The point being, will a municipality, all things being equal, right? Like it's not made yet. We have to work with them to make this stuff. But in terms of like a headline number, we could return 12 times on your investment. Would a municipality do it? And the answer is, of course they would. Duh. Okay. Now that everybody is using TED and has access and the recommendations are within town or whatnot, what does it mean about the businesses? Well, the businesses are now vibrant. They have customers. The town just increased revenue by 12 million. How many businesses are in a town? They all have a bigger piece of the pie. Okay, great. Well, what's this AI thing? Now these businesses are trying to be better. They're trying to live up to technology. They're trying to grow. So now they're outsourcing. No. You could listen, it's America. Do whatever you want. You can outsource to an AI agency and pay them and God bless, have fun. Or we have an AI agency in town that's free. In fact, we as the government, we pay that as like a paid internship. Really? Well, within a town, you now have a business that's accessing that AI agency for free. And they say, hey, listen, we would like to bring somebody in that can help us with this, this, and this. What happened? Well, the person that's in the AI agency otherwise would have been unemployed. What skill set are they learning? I don't know, the most valuable skill set. Okay, great. Where are they applying this skill set? To a local business. Well, a local business, what happens when they apply this valuable skill set? they grow their business. Yeah, they might lay off some people, but they grow their business, which means they increase their tax revenues, which means they increase their tax receipts that go back into the government, which maybe they increase taxes like 1 or 2% to fund this, whatever. We'll figure that out. But it goes directly and proportionally benefits the actual municipality. Okay, but Anne, they're paying all these people. Like, if all these businesses are going to get better and better and keep laying people off, there's going to be more people that are unemployed. Yes, but a municipality has a finite geographical location. There's only so many people that can live there, which means as the people get laid off, they get retrained, which has a bad connotation, but they go through this training, right? Like this paid internship, and they learn the most valuable skill set. What do you think that business is going to do when they meet, Susie, who really, really helped them? Well, they say to Susie, hey, listen, you've been phenomenal. I need you for like 10 hours this week. And Susie's like, it doesn't work like that. I have to help everyone. I'm just a representative of this AI agency. But if you want, you can hire me, because here's the contract. Here's my contract. If you want to hire me right now, this is the deal. Because the AI agency empowers the AI agency distributes and what's the word? I don't know. Basically, if you're hired within the AI agency, you have an employment contract that anyone could buy you from the agency. And that employment contract might say for Susie, I am available for full-time hire for $40 an hour, and it's a 1-year contract. In which case the business now says, oh, that's a lot, but we need her. Like, I know what she can do. She's really great. So what happens to Susie? She gets hired. What happens to the AI agency? They're no longer paying Susie. She's now hired over there, which means, what is the AI agency actually doing? It's taking the town and reinvesting into them in such a way that education, going to college or whatnot can't do, because it's on the cutting edge at all times. The point is, if you see AI as being this technology that is going to exponentiate for the next 10, 20, 30 years, you do need a source of labor that's able to be educated at the cutting edge, and that's actually able to be applicable and serviceable and supportable to the businesses that actually need them, and the businesses need to trust that they have access to them. So what do you essentially do? All of the businesses are now at the cutting edge. They're leading their industries across the globe because they have the best available resources at all time. Your unemployed population is among the smartest population in the entire world, because you're just keep teaching them stuff that the businesses keep hiring them. And you know what? Let's say all the businesses in your town have hired everyone that they possibly could. Well, this AI agency isn't paying people $200,000 a year. They're paying them a good wage, not unemployment wages like 15 an hour, whatever that nonsense is. They're paying them 20, 25 an hour, a good wage, because they're actually valuable. Well, if Tommy in AI agency knows that he's getting paid 20 an hour, but he's really worth 50 an hour, what do you think Tommy's going to do? Tommy's going to start his own business. And then Tommy's probably going to hire the other people in the AI agency. The point is, there is a solution that not only betters where we are, but staves off the existential of where we can go. That's the accordion. So in terms of business models, is this business model favorable to businesses? Would they hire and employ the technology of TED? Could we do a revenue sharing agreement with them? The answer is yes. Is this technology serviceable and valuable to municipalities? Do they get a return on their investment? Could they actually reverse the societal decay that's within their geography? The answer is yes. What does it need? What do we need to do this? Well, we need to make a clear, concise message, right? Like the accordion, we need to bring it in. We need to create these relationships. On the corporate side, it's just the marketing departments, CMOs, people like that. We need to make sure that we get a book, get a presentation, send it out, send it to talk, nurture. We'll be able to do that. And once we're able to do it with one or two or three companies with pilot programs, then we build a proof of concept, and then we can scale that. Same thing with municipality. Once you get a proof of concept, you scale it. So what it comes down to is, do we have the protection to do what we want to do? The answer is yes. Do we have the idea that makes sense for all involved? The answer is yes. Are we able to execute? That's where we're at. And what it's going to take to be able to execute is going to be more money. So we're going to be raising money. But even so we're going to be raising a large amount of money, like 10 to 20 million. But that 10 to 20 million number, I don't think is going to be like a single phone call. I think that 10 to 20 million number is going to require a lot of back and forth. Now that I know the number sounds large, but there are people that have that money. Like, think about anyone that has $100 million or $1 billion. Is this idea big enough for them to put $1 million into it? Duh, of course. But they're not just giving it away. So you need to make those relationships and nurture them. But again, it's a sales thing. Nobody's expecting me to watch their children. This is who I am. This is what I have. This is why I'm talking to you. Do you want in, yes or no? Yes, I'm interested. Okay, great. Let's take next steps. So it's not going to be like, oh, Ant, you needed to know the guy and played like racquetball with them for 5 years. No, it'll be much, and we have the way of doing that, right? Like, I know how to contact the people, I have contacts, blah, 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 blah. But what I do think I'm gonna need to do before then is to do like a much smaller round in-house. And I think that's going to be something that we'll likely maybe put out for next weekend. So we'll see. But what I need to do for now is, and you'll see it in the email that I sent over, I think I gave a fair representation of what I just shared. Oh my God, it's been an hour. See how long this stuff goes? Like, I was like, oh, it's gonna be a quick call. You should know when I say it's gonna be a quick call, it's never gonna be a quick call. That's me like wishing it's gonna be a quick call because I know it's gonna be a long call. But anyway, so the email I sent out shares at the end in terms of conclusion that the immediate stuff I need to do is create the investor book. I need to create a corporate book, like the offering we're going to be able to do for them, and create the government book, the offering we could do for the municipalities. I need to create these three things. Now, again, the accordion's open. But what is clear and concise and organized and understandable for each one of those people in terms of risk, in terms of return on investment, in terms of projections, forecasts, natural rates of growth, what needs to be in them, right? So this is going to be a week-long process, God willing. At the end of this week, what I would like to do is share it with you and do a bit of an offering. In which case, so let's scale that back a little bit. This is going to be a little different than anything we had ever done because everything that we've done was with Rhino Bucks, and it seemed a little bit very like, okay, I trust you, you trust me, which I hope you don't feel like it was misplaced. I'm right here, right? But in terms of going forward, it's one of those things, okay, Ant, I don't regret it, but I'm not doing that again. Okay, fine. I'm going to need to rework the LLC agreement, the operating agreement. I'm going to have to get stock certificates and all of that stuff signed off by lawyers, etc. Because I do think that I can share this with all involved, but I do think that at least from my perspective, I need to be conscious of my audience and say, okay, I know where we are. I know what you're thinking. And because I know what you're thinking, this is as official as it gets. There's a seal, there's this, there's that, there's a law firm, whatever the case may be. And this is what we're going to do going forward. In which case, it's not only, well, this is our offering, but it's also committing to the next offering. So for instance, maybe we'll do a round of 100,000 or whatever, and it'll be at a valuation that is really super friends and family. But that's only relevant, or that's only valuable if you also know that it's guaranteed that the offering we're going to be doing outside is substantially higher. So for instance, if we did an offering in-house at like a 50 million valuation, and then we said, well, the offerings that we're going to do outside of here is 200 to 250 million, then everyone that gets in knows, okay, I put in 10,000, but it's actually really worth 50,000. And also we do need to set up a exit. What I mean by that is, as we do these subsequent rounds of financing, I do want to make it clear that anyone that got into an original round of financing has the first rights to sell into the subsequent round. So say, for instance, we do a round of 100,000 and I don't know, Mike gets in for 10,000. Okay, great. Mike's in at 10,000 at a 50 million valuation. Okay. The next round we do is at a 250,000 valuation, or 250 million valuation. Okay. So the person that gets into that round will be giving, so say for instance, someone does 50,000 in that round. That 50,000 can buy the stock that Mike bought for 10,000 because he has the first rights to sell his shares. I don't want to confuse people with that. We'll get more into how financing rounds of venture capital work, but in offering that you have the first right of selling, it doesn't even rest on, do I think this company is going to be successful anymore? It just rests on, do I think that they can do a next round of financing? And if the answer is yes, and you're looking to make a trade, well, it's very easy to make that trade. But again, everything in respect, responsibility, and everything's got to be quite clear. And the only reason that I'm able to do that is because if the first round is something like 100,000, the next round isn't going to be for something even close to that. Because if we did it for 500,000, it would eat up the whole 100,000. It would make no sense. It would be for 10, 20 million, in which case, the money takes care of itself. So that's all the next steps. So the point of this call is to share the patents and everything are done. Also what I'm going to do. So I want to have something in your hand, because I also know, Anthony, you're just talking. Like I have no idea what's in the patent. I have no idea what the patent even does, Anthony. I'm just trusting that you know. And in fact, what you're describing sounds really, really great. And I can't imagine no one's ever done this. Therefore, I'm kind of a little skeptical that you even have this. I get it. I'm always putting myself on that side. I'm going to make a new version of TED that has all of the patent filings in it. So it'll have the exact patent, it'll have all the verbiage, you have all the copy. These will be files that are in TED, meaning when you download that TED or whatever, you'll be able to speak to TED and ask questions about the patent, in which case you could ask any question you want. Well, does this patent cover if a peach farmer creates oranges and creates orange juice that smells like lemonade? And it's going to answer, well, that doesn't apply, or that does apply. The point being, you will have direct access to knowing exactly. You could even say, well, give me the sentence that proves that this is the case. Beep, 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 beep. This is the claim. This is the abstract, whatever you need. So and again, that's also going to be an investor thing. I need to make sure that that's done by the end of this week, so that when we do the offering, which I really would like to do by this weekend, like kind of open it up, have people schedule phone calls, because this is not like a silly thing. It's not the Rhino bucks, like 5 a week type of thing. Again, I'm never going to say no to anyone for whatever they want to do, but I want to just get it over with. And anybody that has the recognition to say, okay, I see where we are now. I would like to be on the phone with that person. And many of those people, whoever those people are, right? It doesn't matter. But so for this weekend, the goal is I'm going to get that TED done so that you have it in your hands so you can speak to it. I would like to get these books done. I would like to put together some type of offering. I would like to put together some type of something where we can go ahead and raise the money this weekend, because we're going to need to do that to get to our next step. And that 100,000 will finance our ability to make the real investor, and not real, like the larger amount investors, presentations, the nurtures, the relationships, also as well as make the partnerships with the corporations, the CMOs, and as well as start working hand in hand with the governments and we'll just do our local government in terms of what they need to build this out, what is their goals, what do they want, where's their red lines, because again, we can't build it and say, hey, we built it, now take it. We want to say, hey, we want to collaborate and build it in your likeness so that when it's done, you have it. So that's this week. No pressure, right? I'm going to post this video on our YouTube once it finishes uploading. But I hope, listen, if you, again, two things. If you have questions, email me. But just know that if it's a question that can hold off, or if it's something that, like, I don't know, if it's just something to hold off, please hold it off. Because I'm never going to ignore an email, but I also just, like what I just described to you is part of my life. If you look around me, there's so much more that, like, there's other stuff too. But I'm right here. I promise that, like, I'm not going anywhere, and we're going to get there together. I promise. Okay, so love y'all, and I will see you in 2 weeks. Yeah, and I hope to see you this weekend, right? So I really hope to get this stuff done, because if I do, then I'll do some type of presentation and whatever. So that's the goal. All right, love y'all. I'll talk to you later.